Hi, welcome back to Sharon from Vivid Days. Thank you for choosing to spend some time with me. I really appreciate that. Thank you all so much for your ongoing support, especially on the latest video. I know it was a very long one, an hour and 15 minutes, but considering the amount of hours that went in there and the learns, I really felt that you deserve to see that full process. And majority is saying you've enjoyed this and you do enjoy seeing me doing that more detailed reflection on what I'm doing. So I'll try and get a balance. I'll try and put some more detailed ones in and some shorter ones, some speeded up and some real-time ones, because that's a lot of the questions or the feedback I'm getting. I'm also getting asked a lot about what is it that I'm using from a colour point of view and what are the stages that I'm doing. So please remember, there are some tutorials from when I first started my resin journey. I'm going to look at introducing a few more, specifically my recent Ocene one that everybody's supporting me, that was from my mother-in-law with the shells. I'm actually going to come back and do that in real time and probably do it in 3 layers and talk people through it. So if they want to work on a project like that, they're going to know what to do. But could I ask that you please click on that little triangle under my video? That should list all the materials I'm using. And in between now and putting out some more videos that are tutorials, if you want to understand, please pop back into my early videos and have a look at that. That should answer most of your questions. But if not, you know what to do. Connect with me and I'll do my best to answer that question. And also, there is an amazing community of people that have subscribed to my channel that have got more wisdom or different perspective or different types of mediums they specialize in, and I'm sure they'll be happy to help answer your questions. So, as you know, I'm Sharon, I'm digressing. Today we've had a little bit of nice weather. The sun broke through the grey clouds and there was no rain inside, and it shows that spring is finally coming. So I stood out there and let that vitamin D soak into my hair. And whenever that happens, when it's the first of spring and we start to see this nice weather, my memories start to go back to that beautiful land of Australia where I lived, privileged to live for 16 years. So I felt that it was time to revisit a piece that broke my heart as far as from an artistic point of view. I worked on it about 8 months ago. It was one of my first big ocean scenes and I loved it. But there was a few imperfections, and the imperfections were maybe little bits of dust, or I wanted to see if I could get the froth a bit more. So I tried a few layers and it went too far, which really upset me because 1, you don't want to waste resin, it's expensive. 2, I was so proud of this piece of work and then I'd ruined it, which meant that I became embarrassed, but I didn't want to chuck it away, and I knew I'd not given up on it because I did another layer which then just really destroyed, in my opinion, the softness and the beauty of it. So I turned it the other way so I couldn't see it. It was in my studio and I knew I would revisit it. So this is the time I've revisited it. So in this video, you'll see there's 2 different layers. So if you want to just see the end result, that's fine. But if you want to see what I'm doing, visit layer 1 and 2, because that's your way of showing me your support. So what I wanted to do to start with was to show you how do you resurrect a piece that's got lumps everywhere, or you really don't enjoy it. You don't want to waste too much more resin, but you need to sort of strip it back and get it to a certain level. So the first layer is showing you how do I bring back the sand area, how do I start to level it out and start to take control of some of that white hideousness that I put on it. And I did believe that I resurrected it, but it did keep dripping because the sand area was uneven, which you'll see in the video. It caused the resin to pull forward, and I'd also mixed up slightly too little resin. And if you go on to the resin calculator, it will give you what volume of resin that you need. However, I've found that tends to overcompensate for what you need. So I usually go slightly under, but because it's been a while since I've worked on a piece this big, I went too far under. And because it's a quick curing resin, I had to go in there and mix a second batch up. So that put a little bit of stress on that first process, and it did keep falling off. So I didn't get too stressed. I just thought, you know what? Let's show you how I now come back in yet again and bring back my sand. And this time I took my time when applying it. I made sure I'd got the right amount of resin to start with, and I blended my colours a little bit more with my finger, and I do like that aspect where you're getting the different shades of ocean coming through. The thing that I found interesting, and I don't know if it's with working with the Resin 8 resin, because I'm still learning how to best work with this resin, when I applied my casting craft white, which is what created the foam, it kept going underneath my colours, and that's okay. Normally that provides a big feature, but because I wanted to try and get a little bit of foam but not too much, because I wanted that helicopter view, I was struggling to get that balance of seeing enough what I call crests of the wave showing. But in the end, I still love it. It has crept a little forward again, but it's still kept enough of that beach and it's not running off the end. And I'm going to be very proud to have this piece in my house, especially because I know about the journeys. The great thing is there was no burns, no hair loss, and no missing footage, so you'll get to see the full process. I hope it adds value to you. I hope that you enjoy seeing me in my creative space, and I hope it inspires you to potentially work on an ocean stroke beach scenes. I know that they're a popular thing for people to do out there, but put your own spin on it, be true to yourself, and just connect with that feeling as you're painting of you walking on the well, not walking on the ocean, that would be miraculous, but walking on the beach next to the ocean by yourself or with your loved ones, whichever one that you connect with. But the way you can support me and say thank you for helping me put my art out there, which is many hours, is to watch as much video as you can, because that's your way of giving back to me, the artist. It helps my channel grow and it helps me get my art out there. Also, the thumbs up, subscribing and sharing is also a way to give back. So it's all that goodness, but it does help me, and it shows my shows that me putting this effort in is definitely worth it, and there's people out there that want to see it. So I hope you find value. I'm Sharon, I'm digressing. But I'm super proud of the end result, and I hope that you enjoy this journey, and look out for some videos coming this way which are tutorials. But on that note, have the most amazing day, and remember, if you'd like me to try any of your products, resin or anything, connect with me and let's see what we can do. But yeah, I've digressed. See you on the next one. Bye. 3, 2, 1. Boo! Hi everybody, welcome back to Sharon from Vivid Days. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel and wanting to spend some time with me. I just wanted to say a shout out to all you creative people out there, whether you have a YouTube channel or whether you just do your heart humbly at home and share your wisdom through the community by sharing tips and tricks and also supporting other artists out there. It's a beautiful world to be in the creative space on YouTube. My own personal experiences, people are so giving. They like to share experience and they're willing to put their out there, warts and all, and share their ways with you. So it's such a giving community. So today I have the day off work. Yay! So I get to spend some time in my creative space. So you can see this piece behind me. To you from a distance it might look beautiful, but there's a story to this one. So this was one of maybe my third ocean pieces, where I firstly did my small one, which if you haven't seen it, Beach Meets Ocean, I don't think that's the title, but my my first one, where I show you my process step by step, and then I wanted to do it on a bigger scale, and I absolutely love this one. This one was called Beach Meets Ocean, but there was a few flaws in there and I wanted to give it one more layer, and it was a mistake because once I did that I couldn't undo it, and then I tried to do another layer and it broke my heart. So not literally, but from an artist's point of view, I couldn't work on it. So I've put it in my studio and I've forgotten about it for 8 months until I'm ready to see if I can fix it. So I thought this might be a great video to share with you, to say never give up. Let's see one last time if we can fix this as it's meant to be, which I believe is an ocean and a beach, and give you that feeling of tranquility. Lots of depth. So I'm going to see if I can protect and preserve half of it, but then go back in quite ruthlessly with my acrylic paints and repaint where I want it to be. And when I take you down off this little stand, I'll show you the areas that I'm in, because it's not all terrible. There are some beautiful parts of it, but there's some parts that I really don't like. But for me, this is going to be a healing process, because like I said, I cried once I drew in this because I couldn't take it back, and I absolutely love this piece, and this is going to be a piece for me in my new home. And I wanted to see if I could do it and hopefully inspire you guys too. Don't give up, go back there, let's see if we can fix a resin painting. and let's see if that gives back to you. So I would love to know if you find this video at the end useful. The sun is out, a rare treat in the UK as it's still autumn on its way to spring, and I'm hoping that that's going to give me that positive vibe. I'm channeling Australia again, missing my son who's recently returned there, and just been watching some of my friends posting some of their summer beach holidays, snapshots, and this is my way of feeling relaxed and feeling at one with nature. So anyway, ciao, feeling the love. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you on the next one. So as promised, I'll bring you in for a close-up now. I'm going to go to the areas which I like. Now I apologise because I have sanded it back ready for me to start applying it, so that's where you can see those little lines there. But down this corner, the depth that you've got from the layers, absolutely love. You might not be able to pick, but there's some nice green tones and that coming around, and there's some little bit of gentle water here. All beautiful. And then you get to the blobs. So this was me experimenting with adding the white on top just by itself, just to see if I could create 3D. But it just didn't work. I should have had clear resin on there and it would have done its trick. So all the way down here you've got like a glob of just white. You might not be able to see it here, but you can see it, the shoreline. So there's some aspects of it, let me get my finger right, there's some aspects of it that in theory would have been okay with the extra 3D layer, but oh, it just doesn't look nice. It looks so unorganic and it's just plonked there. Because when you look at this beach here, it's soft and then you go blob. Anyway, that's what I see anyway. You'll probably agree. It's just like ice cream sat on top of it there. So what I am going to do is take a deep breath, be relaxed, and try and keep some aspects of this as it is, but bring the softness back here. And I'm going to try and paint back the shoreline a little bit and bring it back a little bit more. And it's quite drastic. I know that I've got uneven surfaces, but I'm thinking in my mind's eye that by the time I add clear and sand again, that's going to bring it up to a similar level. And sometimes sand's not even, people. You have lumps and bumps. But I just think that there's so much about this piece I want to try and salvage. And I want to share this journey with you because I want to give other people hope that if they've done something, don't throw it away. And let's see what we can do with our imagination and a little bit of skill, and let's see if this turns into a piece that I will be able to hang up in my own home, and let's see if I can protect this. So I will show you the colours that I'm using, but if you go back to my original ocean painting, I have a couple of colours that I really love when I'm working on ocean scenes, so I'm going to be sticking true to that. So I will show you before I start, but this process, once I start, will be fast forwarded because I just want to save you guys some time. But I do encourage you to go back on the original videos that I've created, which shows a step-by-step process of how I got to the stage before I ruined it. Anyway, let's get on with this. I'm feeling confident and I'm feeling that sharing this with you is the right thing to do. Okay, so I have everything that I'm going to be using. So I will be using my ultramarine blue. I use Pebbles. You can use whatever ultramarine you like. The thing you have to be very, very cautious with is resin does not like water. Acrylics are water-based. So I only ever apply a pea-sized amount to my resin just as I mix it in and apply it straight to my board. I don't leave it stood in the resin waiting. The reason being, it can cause a little thermal event. What that means is it can force the resin to heat up dramatically, go marshmallowy, set like concrete, and also steam, and worst case scenario, set on fire. So you have to take this very seriously. I work in a well ventilated area. I will be wearing my face mask, especially when you are going to be applying the heat gun, heating up, because at the end of the day, even though the manufacturers will say that it's got low toxicity, it may do, it's still a chemical that you're going to be burning and heating up. So always take precautions, wear gloves, and also try and keep a fire extinguisher nearby. Last tip I would say is, where possible, try to use silicone cups, stirring sticks, anything like that, because you can use that as much as you want, wipe it off, and resin's very forgiving with that, and it also helps the environment. So I will get off my soapbox now and I will show you ultramarine blue. I use cerulean blue. With this one it's Darling and Rowney. My Pebbles colours that I connect with for the ocean are also Pebbles, and this is blue green, green blue, and turquoise, because those are the colours that I associate when I am walking down the beach, whether it be in Australia and sometimes in Greece. So that's why I stick to them, but you can do your oceans in any colours you want. I use the Casting Craft White. For me, I find when I apply a tiny little bit of that to my resin, that's what gives you the delicate foaming effect, which is what I want to go here. You could use a little bit of acrylic, which is what I did in my first one, but I tend to find that I prefer this. And this works beautifully with a heat gun, torch, or even blowing, and it helps create that feathering and foamy look. For my beaches, I normally use 3 colours, which would be my burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and an ivory. You can do whatever you want with your beach, because what I do is I like to create a shadow where the ocean is lapping onto the beach, and then come through with that yellowy tone, but also the white sand, which again I associate with Australia. And then I come back and embellish it with real sand, and to me that adds that depth, that texture, and a piece of interest for your art. Again, that's an optional thing. You can put starfish on there, shells, whatever you want. For this one, I'm going to try and keep it quite clean and organic, but we'll see. I'll let my creative intuition kick in, and then we will see what we want. So the only really colours I'm going to be using to bring back is the beach. The other colours I'll be using as I apply my resin. So wish me luck, and I'll see you on the other side. So now I have painted back where I want my sand to be. Don't worry about that sand being perfect, it's just to really gradiate where it's going to be, help my mind's eye, understand where it's all going to come, because I am going to come and apply that sand, and that's going to help her. And when I've brought back the ocean, it's lapping onto here, some of this brown will be covered up, but that will help give that 3D dimension. And I'm feeling positive and optimistic, because even though you can see the humps and bumps here, it's not going to distract from it. It's going to add value. It's going to look like you're walking on a rocky or beach that's got lots of gradients to it. And by the time I add the sand and the resin, it's going to do what I want. So as I've done that now, that's giving me more confidence it's going to work. When I come back here and add the coloured acrylic, it's going to cover up this white. You'll still see it underneath, but it'll just look like the ocean's churning, I'm hoping. And then I can gradiate it lapping onto the ocean and have control again. And I believe that this will end up being a piece that I will love again. And I'm very, very happy that I have not thrown it away and that I'm trying to rescue this. So we're just going to let this dry. I've asked many a subscriber has asked about how long do I let things wait to dry. Acrylic will differ depending on the time of year for you and heat. So for me, I wait until it's dry to touch, like this area here is now dry. This area I had more or less, so that's probably going to take another half hour. And as long as it's dry to touch, you're not going to lose anything when you add your resin. As far as your resin, when can you apply the next layer, that'll be manufacturer's instructions. I've had some where you can apply a second layer as near as 4 hours when it's dry to touch, even though it's still curing. And I've had some that it's waited for the next day for me. So the reason I have sanded this one back is because it's been 8 months. If I'd have done this within a week, you wouldn't need to sand it back, but resin wants something to grip to. And so by just finely sanding it and then wiping all those bits off, my resin's going to have something to grip to. And yeah, that should be it. So I hope that answers the questions for you. And I'm digressing. I'm going to come back when this is dried and you're going to see me then applying the resin, and hopefully that will be this piece done. All right, I will see you shortly. Well, I'm going to add some of this it's face and body glitter. It's the Glam Crystal collection. I really love it. It's white, but it's iridescent, tiny little bits of colours. So I'm just going to sprinkle a tiny little bit before I start applying my resin. So the resin I'm going to be working with for the first time is Resin 8, which is an epoxy hardener. So there is a hardener and the resin itself, so it's 1:1. I'm only showing you one because it's 10 kilogram and 5 kilograms should I say, but it's quite heavy. With this one it's going to be quite interesting because it's a 2 to 3 minute stirring time, but only a working time of 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to have to get my butt moving. But I want the challenge of working quicker, because I tend to find I can sculpt my art quick, but I have to wait then a long time for it to start to cure before I can do the detail work. So let's see how this is going to work. Hi everybody, welcome back to Sharon from Vivid Days. This evening I'm going to come back and revisit my ocean piece. So you saw me in the video before where I'd really royally messed up, but now this has all come back to one level. You can still see depth in there, but because there was this difference here where the resin created those mounds or a higher ground, it forced the resin to continue to drip while it was curing. And I'm not really loving this piece here. I usually like a nice clean beach with a little bit of overlap. So I am not one to give up, as you know, but I'm also not one to waste resin and also this beautiful canvas. So what I'm going to come back in this evening, because it's quite late, but I couldn't resist, I'm going to come back and bring back my shoreline, which means I have to then resin it, and then very carefully and delicately I'm going to bring this all together, specifically around here. I've decided that because this is such a helicopter view and you're looking down on this vast ocean, I actually don't want to see too much white foam, just a delicate position of where it is, because that'll give you a better perspective of looking down. So what you're going to see me do is just paint out this area again and come back through with a final resin, and that should be it. But I'm determined this piece is going to go on my wall. So thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope you enjoy this second layer, which shows you never give up. There's a balance. Don't waste your resin, but never give up, and keep going until you get the vision that you want. And I believe I can get this piece together. So follow me on this journey and let's get painting. So I'll bring you a bit closer for the sand areas, just so you can see the different tones and textures gradiating out that I worked on last night. And this is the depth that you are currently seeing on the ocean. That's Faye, my peacock princess. Quite a few people have asked about that. She's an oil painting that I did many years ago, 2015, but I love her. She brings a little bit of magic into my studio. But let's get on with this and let's get creative. Hi, welcome back to Sharon from Vivid Days. This piece is fully cured and I can officially say this piece is done. There's nothing more I can do to add any more value on the piece unless I was starting from scratch, and I don't want to do that because of how much resin's gone into it as well. But the colours, the tone, the feeling, I am absolutely happy with, and I will be proud to hang this on my wall. So I am going to come in for a little closer look for you, and I'll talk you through some of the stuff that I love. I apologise for the high shine. There isn't a lot I can do about that. So the beach area that I corrected, I love. I'm going to try and zoom you in there. This is the effects that you get from the sand that's in there. And by moving it around in the different directions, you get that feeling of just sand, because different levels, different gradients. And some of the white foam that's come onto the shoreline, and this part looks like it's definitely sucking back into the ocean, where you can see underneath. I would have loved to have kept a little bit of a darker line everywhere else. Love how this is lapping on, but I actually find this quite interesting. It definitely wasn't the look I was going for or what I wanted, but this is the one where the casting craft getting sucked underneath the resin. I think that's because of the movement, but I actually quite like it, because if you stand back, it definitely looks like a helicopter view, where this has had a tremendous amount of waves crashing on here, and I quite like the dark areas showing through, which shows that there's multiple different waves that's just crashed onto the beach. So I'm going to take you back up to the top right. Hello, that's me in the camera, and I'm not too sure if you're going to get to see the depth or the different tones in there. So let's see if I take you in. You can see some of that movement of some of those layers underneath, and you can see some of those gradiating colours. Well, I hope you can. I know I can. And those delicate little bits of foam that's coming in. So I am moving across now, and I'm going to take you to the centre, and we are going to go up. And as we start to move over into the deeper blues, which are some of the glorious colours. See that tiny little hair there? Cannot wait to move into my new creative space, because that will be a more controlled environment. So top right, love the ultramarine blue, love some of that depth of the other layers you can see, and this is the cerulean, and it's just sort of fading through. Let me go back in there. Love that. And it comes down to the waves, which is clear, and then back on to the shoreline. I wish I really could get better. Let's see. Apologies for the torch, but I'm trying to shine it over so that you get to see a little bit more of the tones and depth. You can definitely see that movement. You can see a little bit of that tone. There you go. So I really enjoy this. I'm so happy that I'm going to be able to put this on my wall now. So I would love your thoughts. I'd love to know if you found this video any value. But thumbs up, subscribe, share, comments are always welcome, and thank you for coming on this journey. The only downside is I have to now get my resin nipples sorted, so I may do a video on that if you find that that has any value, if you are new to resin. And the people that are not new to resin know how painful that is going to be. Anyway, I'm digressing. I've kept you long enough. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you on the next video.